Hello and welcome to our latest Business Spotlight interview. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Karen Breene, co-owner of Murphy and Bailey, a luxury pet boutique here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Hello, Karen. How are you today?
Hi there. I'm good. Thank you very much. Pleased to be here.
Great. Delighted to have you. Why don't you share with us who you are, what you do, and for how long you've been doing it?
Yes, my name's Karen Breene, as you said. I am the co-owner of Murphy and Bailey, which is a pet store, gift shop, coffee shop that is owned by myself and my business partner, Judith Scott. So we named it after our own two dogs. So I am Murphy's mum and Jude is Bailey's mum. And it kind of came around after we both had very long corporate careers in two different industries. Jude was in banking, I was in telecoms. And yeah, we both had enough of the corporate world and decided we wanted to set up something local and something that we were both passionate about. And that's kind of where Murphy and Bailey first originated.
Fantastic, brilliant. Such a good thing to hear that the passion of your lives, and especially me being a dog owner and a dog lover, that birthed the business. So who is your ideal customer then?
Oh, I mean, anybody who so basically we have a strap line, which is for dogs, cats, and the people that love them. So pet owners obviously would be the main customers that we have, but also just people who love animals or people who are buying gifts for animal lovers. Our store is dog friendly, so 9 times out of 10 if you come in, there's going to be dogs in the store, there's going to be puppies in the store. So we even have regular customers who just come in for coffee and a bun to check out other people's dogs because they maybe don't have any of their own. But predominantly it's going to be humans who love their dogs and their cats and want to spoil them and treat them, or give them really good food, good treats that they know have been made in a natural and sustainable way, because that's part of our focus as well, to make sure that everything that we stock is beneficial for the dog. So you're not going to get the sort of treats that you'd buy in a Home Bargains or the Range, or, with big names. I don't want to name any in particular, but
sure.
A lot of it's natural treats. And a lot of the things we stock are produced here in Northern Ireland, and that includes treats and food as well. And we also do our own label food, which is produced for us in the UK. So you know what you're getting, and you get a really good personal service from us and the staff here who really know what they're talking about.
It's fantastic. I didn't realize you did such a span of things, so that's excellent. And can people order the food and stuff online to be delivered to their house, or do they need to come to the store to collect that?
And they need to come to the store to click and collect. We can obviously, we ship throughout the UK things like treats or salmon oil or things that can fit in the post. But a 15 kg bag of dog food, unfortunately, does not. So, but we do offer a click and collect service. So a lot of people will order online to make sure, they can get 3 or 4 bags if they've multiple dogs, and then they can just pull up outside and we'll load it into the car for them. So, but anything that we can physically post, we do. And in fact, we post all over the world. We've posted beds to Dubai and, harness sets to America. And we've even sent some doggy scarves last Christmas to Japan. So yes, we ship around the world.
That's brilliant to hear. That is excellent. So what has been your biggest learning since becoming a business owner?
I think nothing comes easy. As I said, both Judith and myself come from a corporate background. So my corporate background, I had teams of people, and, I had a finance director, and I had a marketing director, and I had a PR person and a secretary and all of that. And a boss who was there to support me. And all of a sudden, you are all of those people and more. So, from a learning perspective, I'd say it's not easy. You are everything. So, and you need to wear many, many hats. And I'd also say, doing something right so that you only have to do it once is something really worthwhile. You know, we invested a lot up front, and we really thought about the working environment we were going to be in.
Yes.
And how pleasant we wanted that to be, not just for our customers, but also for ourselves and our staff, because we knew we were going to be here 7 days a week for hopefully years moving forward.
Yeah.
So we wanted it to be a beautiful store and a really lovely, welcoming environment for everybody. And so, you know, we did spend a lot up front to make that happen. And it's paid back in dividends, because there's nothing else like it in Northern Ireland at all, you know.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
And we are now coming up to, we'll be open 3 years at Halloween. So,
Wow.
you know,
Excellent.
Yeah, stood the test of time.
Fantastic. It's great to hear. So when you were growing up, is this something that you'd always wanted to do?
No, I don't think it ever would have occurred to me. It's funny. I mean, did I think I'd spend 25 years working for British Telecom? No, I think when I was growing up, I, like every other child, probably at some stage wanted to be a vet, a doctor, a lawyer, you know.
Yeah.
Went through phases of all of those. Then when you work out how many A levels and exams and years at university all of that is going to take, you kind of know, certainly in my day, nobody really talked to you about just going into business or starting your own business. Entrepreneurship wasn't really something that was discussed in schools at that age. It was very much into a profession or into a trade, or, you know, teaching, engineering. And I kind of went that way a wee bit, as in, you know, out of school, I went to Queen's to do a nursing degree, and then very quickly realized that was not for me, and was lucky to get into a position in BT when I was in my early 20s. And it was a huge growth opportunity for me. And, you know, I ended up traveling the world with them, and having lots of amazing jobs and lots of amazing bosses and mentors throughout. And that was probably what then gave me the understanding and the drive and the ambition to create something of my own.
Sure. Excellent. Good. Yeah, all of that experience and bringing that all to your own venture has got to pay dividends, obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
So what has been the biggest issue that you've overcome in setting up a business?
I would say, I mean, we opened in the middle of COVID. So I had left BT January, just before COVID hit, but obviously when we didn't know COVID was going to be a thing.
Sure.
And the plan was always, you know, that had been like an 18-month process to extricate myself, if you like, and, you know, do all the plans. So it had been 2 years in the planning nearly to come out. And then the idea would have been that we would have opened somewhere at Easter, and instead we were in the middle of lockdown. So all of our plans had to shift by 6-9 months. And then when we did open at Halloween, that was then the second lockdown. But because we were selling pet essentials, and at the time you could do takeaway coffee and things, we kind of just had to adapt. And we very much changed our business model because of COVID. You know, I think originally when we started talking years ago about the business, it was very much going to be like a proper sit-in dog cafe versus with maybe a few shelves of stuff to sell. And instead we are a full-blown pet and gift shop with a dog dressing room and a bed library and a dog and cat deli. And we literally have 2 tables out the back for people to sit and have coffee. We do coffee and treats. We kept the takeaway coffee, so it's still takeaway everything, but we do have some seating out the back. So that is very much on the, you know, a very small element of our business now. And the pet store element is probably the biggest, and then the giftwares in the middle. Yeah. And actually, when we originally were going to do it, it would have been completely the other way around.
Sure. So obviously you're very adaptable, very light in your feet, age of the change. And, you know, my goodness, so many established businesses didn't survive COVID. So to launch a new business in the middle of that whole pandemic, which was news to everybody,
Yeah.
new experience for everybody, and such a devastating experience in some cases. You have obviously thrived in that and done exceedingly well. So many congratulations. That's great to hear.
I mean, I think as difficult as COVID was, and certainly then that went on, but between COVID and Brexit, and then the cost of living crisis / the impact of the cost on supplies, and the red tape to get things into Northern Ireland now. We have had to over the last 3 years, we've had to continually adapt. And again, that has probably pushed us much more down the road of trying to find local suppliers and manufacturers for as much of our stuff as possible, because it just reduces all of your timelines and the added complication of, customs and things, trying to get things in because of Brexit. And reduces your costs significantly if you're able to go and pick something up from 20 miles away, instead of having to get it shipped from 2,000 miles away. So we've been lucky that because of the pandemic, a lot of people got pets, a lot of people got additional pets, and people weren't going into city centres. They were shopping much more local, and they were trying to support small independent businesses. So for us to open up as a small independent business in an area that is surrounded by chimney pots, we very quickly started to grow, a really loyal customer base, which has just, expanded exponentially. And we have launched since then, obviously, a reward and loyalty scheme for our customers, a coffee loyalty scheme. So all of those things that, subscribers onto email, we do a lot on social, and all of that has just helped to grow the business.
Fabulous. That's great. Really so inspiring. Great to hear as well. So who inspires you in business?
I mean, I think there's kind of, I think early on, if I'm honest, it was more about the inspiration that I've had in my past from, previous bosses, from my own parents, all of whom would have had complete faith in me and gave me an awful lot of confidence and belief in myself over the years. That meant, by the time I'm in my late 40s, I have that belief and confidence in myself to go and set up this venture. And then I think as the business has kind of established, I mean, there's people like, the Flynn twins at Happy Pear, the way they set up their business, starting very small with a shop and cafe in Greystones, and then doing something they really loved and really believed in and were really passionate in, and then have continued to grow and expand, whether that's, on a YouTube channel or recipe books or food in the co-op or whatever. They've really grown that into what is now probably a global brand. And it came from just a passion and a love of food and a love of veganism for them. Yeah, and that is now taken a back seat, and it's much more about, sustainable agriculture and lots of other things. But certainly they have been somebody I've followed for years. I look at somebody like Davina McCall, who, has annoyed a lot of people, had a lot of ups and downs over the years, but her tenacity with regards to, I remember hearing her talk at one stage, it was probably only about 18 months ago, but it was a stage where we were kind of wavering. And she was just saying how she just constantly sent out emails to people to make her own work. If she had an idea, she had to make it happen. She didn't care how many emails she had to send out to do that. She would just bombard people until somebody cracked and said yes. And that really resonated with me. And at a time where we were probably waiting for people to come to us a bit, I think we were a bit like exhausted and thought, we people have heard of us now, they'll start to come to us. But no, if you want something, you've got to go get it yourself, So that, and the local business owners in the Belmont Road, they have, for a start, were so welcoming. but some of them have 30, 40, even 60 years experience of
Sure.
being on this road, and we're able to share all of that. But also they turn up here day after day and love it and love the people. And that was super inspiring. You know, we knew within a couple of weeks we'd made the right decision with regards to our locality. And
Sure.
a lot of that was to do with the support that we got and continue to get from the Belmont Road traders.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Great sharings. Love it. So do you have any favorite books, podcasts, things you got there that you return to for motivation? Sound motivated enough already?
Yeah. I mean, we do. The Best of Belfast is always a good one, just to see what's going on and happening. And it was one of the first ones we ever did, actually. You know, we'd literally just opened a couple of months when we did the Best of Belfast podcast. I think on a regular basis, Happy Pair, I love, because there is such a variety on their podcasts. You know, you could be learning about sleep one week, learning about business the next, open water swimming, adventurers, but always with people who have gone the extra mile and who, you know, have something phenomenal to tell and share. And I'd say business related, it's a bit cliche, but I do listen to Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, quite regularly, actually. And the High Performance podcast, which is Jake Humphreys and what do you call him, that guy? Oh, Damien Hughes. And again, you know, it's very varied. You can have Emily Maitlis one day and, you know, Gary Barlow the next, but or a lot of it will be around sports and high performance coaching.
Yes. Yeah.
And certainly through corporate environment, you know, coming through BT, we heard from so many sports professionals at events and coaches and high performance. And, you know, it applies across the board to everything, you know, so you can certainly get a lot of motivation from listening to people like that, and a lot of ideas that you can adapt yourself and into business.
Excellent, Karen. Really good shares there. Also really like it that you're sharing a couple of local ones as well. So always good to hear. So what does the future look like, and what would you see as the main challenges going forward?
Oh, I mean, so honestly, the biggest challenges are around capital. You know, you've got to, you know, speculate to accumulate. You've got to keep investing, and it's hard at the present moment in time, whenever you've got all of your rising costs. You know, like we're constantly paying out more and more, you know, and you're paying the Batman and you're paying everybody else, and all of a sudden you've very little left to actually do anything significant. You know, I would love to have additional premises. How realistic that is going to be in the next 2 years, the jury is still out, if I'm honest. You know, certainly the growth here continues, which is great, and we will continue to focus more on our food and more on our customer loyalty. I think maybe if we get through to the end of this year, going into next year, we would potentially look to see if we could expand further. But another wise businessman once said to me, you know, stop looking around at other people and just focus on making as much as you can from the place that you are, which is why we ended up, you know, opening up upstairs. So we have a 2-level store, actually, which people thought we were bonkers, but it has worked out quite well by opening up that second floor. You know, we doubled our space. We continue to look at how we utilize the space to, you know, increase footfall, to increase spend, to increase, you know, visual selling, etc. And I think we just need to keep on doing that, you know, keep investing in our staff, because, you know, we're very lucky. We've had our staff since we opened practically. Well, certainly our first full-timer started a year into the business and is still with us, and, you know, really listen to what they're telling us too, and they're very involved in everything from design to social media, and obviously customer service. So I think we just continue to focus on what we've got.
Good, exciting days ahead. Sounds great. Look forward to watching this all develop. And I know I will be crossing your threshold at some stage. We'll bring our little dog Harley down to meet you.
Hey,
What would you say to someone thinking of going into business for themselves?
Oh, I'd say you really need to think about it before you do.
Yeah.
And I'd also say you need to be prepared to give it 100%. I do see businesses opening up and, the business owner's hardly ever there, or, doesn't seem to invest much time. I'd say for the first year, practically, we ate, slept, drank, dreamed everything about the business 24/7. We were in there every single day. That coming up to first Christmas, we were going home at night and then we were stamping bags and stamping cups and, doing going to the post office, and it was literally round the clock. And, I would still say, even now, 2.5 years on, I'm just back from a couple of days off, but I was on my email every day. I was checking in every day. I was still posting on socials, on my Sunday snaps. So you need to appreciate that if you're going to set up your own business, it's it's going to be 100% you.
Sure. No, really, really good wisdom, great sharing. And finally, what would be the best piece of advice if you could turn the clock back to an 18-year-old Karen that you would give yourself?
Ooh. Interesting. I probably would be saying you need to believe more in yourself at the time, because at 18, I wasn't overly confident, actually. I feel there's a bit of a shift. I think 18-year-olds today think they're adults and they know everything. At 18, I did not. And I probably had less confidence in myself than the people around me in my early days, certainly in my early 20s and going into business. So I kind of wish I didn't have to be told so many times that I could do something, and I would have had more confidence and faith in myself that, I was a capable person. But that comes with time and with experience. And I'd also say to myself, stop worrying about things that you have no control over.
Excellent advice.
That was something that I probably didn't pick up on until I was in my early 30s, and it's like I spent so much time worrying about things, even simple things like running late for a meeting or, a flight delay but you can't do anything about it. So instead of giving yourself gray hairs and stress and anxiety and panic attacks and all these things that, people seem to suffer from even more these days, and then I'd be take a breath and stop worrying about things that are out of your control.
Brilliant advice. Yeah, totally. Forget the gray hairs. No hair. So look, Karen, pleasure to have you on the Business Spotlight today. Really appreciate all your sharing. Love to hear about your business thriving, and look forward to good days ahead. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. You're welcome.